Explore the cutting edge of wellness. So hair loss, it's a topic a lot of us want to avoid it happening. But at some point, many of you will have to deal with it. So really what causes it, hormonal changes, age, and more importantly, what can you do to restore your hair and keep the hair loss from happening?
All right, so joining us now is Dr. Jennifer Stagg, a naturopathic doctor and owner of the Whole Health Wellness Center in Avon.
Hey,
hello.
Doc.
Hi, thanks for having me.
Oh, we're happy to have you. You know, this is a topic I know a lot of folks here in the newsroom have been chiming in about. And let's just talk about what happens. Like, why do people suddenly start to lose hair at different times in their life?
Yeah, so I mean, by the time we're 50% of men and women will have trouble with hair loss. So the numbers are really high, and it can be for such a wide variety of medical reasons. There's obviously genetics involved in that, but of course there are medical causes as well, like thyroid disorders, even infections in your scalp, stress, of course, medication. So first you would want to work with your doctor to rule out a lot of those medical causes, and you may find something there and that should be treated. But the flip side, and what we see a lot in our practice, are people who have had all those things ruled out, and it's nutrition at its core.
Okay, so let's talk about that a little bit. What would be some nutritional deficiencies that you could really correct and see your hair grow back?
Yeah, so the number one nutritional deficiency to make sure that is screened for is an iron deficiency. And that's the most common deficiency. That's a simple blood test, and a lot of times is not like part of just your general screening lab work. Sometimes it's there, but a full iron panel with a ferritin level is really important. And if you find that your ferritin level is below 50, that actually can be treated, and you can take iron supplements. A word of caution with iron, though, is iron is a supplement that should really be monitored with blood testing by a physician, because if you took iron for too long and you didn't need it, it could actually accumulate in the liver and you could have toxicity. So it's something that you really should be working with a doctor with on iron levels. But there are a lot of other nutrients to consider as well.
So if you think that that's something that you'd like to pursue, can you ask your regular doctor to run that lab on you, or is that something that people can call you to do?
Yeah, absolutely. Either way. So our practice, we order complete blood work, but you can also just work with your primary care doctor and ask for a lab work for an iron panel with ferritin on there. Other lab tests to consider that are important when it comes to hair loss are zinc levels, and actually something called an RBC zinc, so a red blood cell level of zinc, which gives us a better read on your stores. Vitamin D, and more we'll see that people are getting vitamin D tested routinely, but still it's something that often is not a part of an annual screening. And B vitamins like B12 are also important to check too.
You know, the other thing is medications that you're on different times in your life can really affect hair loss. Things like even birth control pills or acid blockers. I know there's a big concern about us being on too many acid blockers, and you have a protocol where you help people kind of get off of them. But, what do you do if the medication is causing it?
Yeah, so it depends on the medication and whether that medication can be adjusted. So if we're dealing with something like an acid blocker, sometimes people can't come off those right away and they really need to be on them. But if it's something you've been on for a long time and could work to get off, that could help. But also just addressing the deficiency. So maybe like acid blockers will reduce iron absorption. They reduce zinc absorption as well. So supplementing at higher levels under supervision could help mitigate some of that. But also as we get older, we just have problems like just across the board with the product of aging is that we don't digest as well, and we have malabsorption of a lot of different nutrients. So that's something to address too, as well as other digestive problems like people with chronic diarrhea, inflammatory bowel disease, patients with celiac disease are going to have a higher risk of nutrient deficiencies as well.
And then just really quickly, doctor, I mean, should we accept that age and genetics are just the end-all be-all for hair loss, or are there still ways to combat that?
Yeah, luckily we used to think that, you're just getting older, that's it, that's all we can do about it. But now we do know that there are a lot of things that you can do to help support a lot of different aspects of aging. And so that digestive disturbance or reduction in digestive capacity can be supported with supplementation and improving digestive health. Obviously, like hormone imbalances, autoimmune conditions are things to look at as well that are come along with aging too. The other big thing is oxidative stress. And so as we get older, it speeds up the aging process. And that's something that we can use things like bitters and phytonutrients, and these green drinks are really great at reducing oxidative stress. And that affects our hair as well.
I want to thank you, Dr. Stagg. I want to invite everyone to listen to your full conversation. We're going to go take a much deeper dive and what you can do, from testing to which supplements to take, on the Care is Cures podcast. It's on your favorite platforms, Apple, Spotify, so subscribe and we can listen there. Thank you so much, Dr. Stagg. We'll see you on the podcast soon.
Okay, sure. Thanks.
And you can go to wholehealthllc.com or visit Dr. Jennifer Stagg on Instagram at Jen Stagg. But she does, I know her practice takes insurance and they're right in Avon. It's good to get those thorough blood tests. You find out a lot.
We were talking about that. Very interesting conversation, Karen.